It's raining at the racetrack, so we've invaded the Waltrip bus. I'm holding Sarah, Jessica, Stevie back coloring. Thought we'd talk to Darrell Waltrip about his career in racing and where he's going from here. Darrell, is it still fun?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You look very...
yeah, I do, don't I?
You look very good there, man. It's pretty,
No.
pretty becoming to you. and you're not too old, I promise you. Yeah, I love racing, and I think I've told you this before, but when I got hurt there in '90 and I was away for a few weeks, it really came really clear to me that just how much I loved racing and how much it means to me, how much it means to my family. Stevie and I were very miserable during that period of time when I had to sit at home and watch the races on the couch and watch somebody else drive my car. And I think the most disappointed I ever was in Daytona, the 4th of July, the weekend I got hurt. I was unconscious for some time. I woke up, I'd just come out of the operating room. I woke up and the race was coming on TV. And I started to cry. I said, I cannot believe they're having this race and I'm not there. They're going to have it without me, whether I'm there or not. And I was so devastated. That my car was getting ready to start a race that I wasn't going to be in it. And that never happened to me before. I mean, I'd always, I was on a real long streak of like 500 starts or something. And so it really was emotional for me to be out of the sport there for a little while. But it also was very good for me because it made me come back really with a little bit of a vengeance. People have a tendency to write you off, say you're too old and you don't want to do that anymore. But I tell you, I still have as much fun, I still get as excited, and I still want to win as badly as I ever did.
So you think that race car drivers are born with natural ability to drive a race car?
Good ones are.
Really?
Oh, I think so. What I like is I can go out in a car, and other drivers can too. Don't misunderstand me. Great drivers, good drivers can go out in a car, and the car can be junk, but you don't ever know it. They go around the racetrack, they compete, they do a pretty darn good job, and the car may not been, any other driver would have wrecked the car or parked the car, one or the other. There's just something about, I think, a really good driver, he makes it look so easy. He goes around the racetrack and the car just looks like it's floating around the racetrack. And that's natural ability. That's being able to put that car right to the edge, but not over the edge. And that's something that a lot of drivers can't distinguish, is where is the edge? And all of a sudden they're over it and they're in trouble. But the great ones, they're always on the edge, but they're never over the edge. But I won the first race in Nashville in 1975, driving my own car.
That was still your car?
Yeah, that was a terminal transport car, and Jake Elder was the crew chief on the car. We won again in '75 at Richmond, Virginia. The car was still the terminal transport car. It was still my car, but we had made the deal with Dyegard in July. That race was in September, and even though it was my car, it was their engine, and it was still kind of my deal. I'd already signed up to drive for them, and so they got credit for the win. But we actually won 2 races in '75 with our own stuff. But the first race we run was Daytona, and I think we won the qualifying race in '76. Then in that year, I only won 1 race that whole year, and that was Martinsville. Then in '77, I was very upset in '76 because when we did run, we ran well, but the car would always break. So I went on a mission to find me an engine man, and I found Robert Yates. Well, I didn't find him. I'd known Robert from stuff I'd done up at Juniors, buying used parts and whatnot. Got just hot and heavy after Yates, and got Bill Gardner hot and heavy after him, and we hired Yates, and he came to Florida, and we worked the first part of '77 down in Florida, building all of our engines and traveling out of Florida. Then about the middle of the season there, we found a shop that up by the Charlotte airport, and Dyegard bought that, and we moved the whole operation up to Charlotte, all during the '77 season, which we won 6 races in '77.
So you felt like in 1977 you've arrived?
I came into my own. I felt, you know, I learned a lot about, in 77, I learned that you don't have to have the fastest car to win the race, that you can win the race by being smart, by being in the right place at the right time, and that you didn't always have to have the best car to win the race. That's probably the biggest thing I learned that year.
So when did you go with Junior? What year did you? 81, was that 81?
81. That was incredible. I mean, we
so
started off.
Junior just hit it off.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it's of course this is the arrogance that I had at that time, but I remember going up to juniors and Tim Brewer was there and Harold and a bunch of them were there, and we were looking at the cars, and they had won 14 poles and 6 races in 1980. That's what they had done. And I remember walking around looking at the cars and said, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, boys, y'all do it all wrong as far as I can tell." I said, "I'm going to win 14 races, and we might win 6 poles." And just being, you know, arrogant, cocky, whatever you want to call it. And everybody kind of got a big laugh out of that. But we won 12 races and 14 poles or whatever it was.
Was 1985 championship the most satisfaction you ever had winning a championship?
The thing about 85 was it was one of those Ford Chevrolet deals where Ford had an advantage, and we just kept working and working and working and testing and testing, and Chevrolet was doing all they could do, and Junior was doing all he could do, and really Charlotte was a turning point. I'm sure you remember, but we won the Winston on Saturday and the 600 on Sunday, and that turned our year around right there because we hadn't done all that well up to that point. But Bill, you know, Bill Elliott was plastered everywhere, and rightfully so. I mean, the man won 12, what did he win, 12 races that year?
11 or 12 races, yeah.
Phenomenal. And to this day, as long as I've been in racing, the 2 laps he made up under green is still the most amazing thing I've ever seen in one of our races at Talladega. But we just kept plugging away, and even though he won 11 or 12, we were second every time, and we were just kind of hanging there waiting for something to happen, and lo and behold, you know, they won the $1 million at Darlington, and it seemed like they quit. They didn't have enough staying power. They didn't have the punch to knock us out, and we were able to hang in there and win the championship. And that was pretty exciting because we did that against incredible odds. Finally, it just came to the middle of 86 or so there that Rick Hendrick came along and started talking to me and talking some pretty big numbers for me to go drive for him. Finally, I went to Junior. I said, "Junior, I don't know what we're going to do, but I've been offered this deal, and I want to stay here, but this is what this man's willing to pay me." And Junior said, "Well, if I was you, I'd take that job."
You and Hendrick never had the success that obviously you envisioned going in.
No, you know, everybody called it the dream team, and it seemed like it had the potential to be the dream team. Waddell and I got together, and Waddell was the master of horsepower. I was good reputation for chassis and being aggressive on the racetrack, but the combination never worked. 88, we moved the deal out, moved it into my shop, and Jeff and I took the deal over. In 88, I had a pretty decent year. In 89, I had a great year. 89 was, you know, won Daytona, won Charlotte, won Atlanta.
Won the Daytona 500.
Won the Daytona 500.
Why'd you decide to buy your team, and now you're going to spend all this money? And
man, we could talk forever about that whole situation, buying the team and why, and it's an incredible chain of events leading up to doing the deal, and then while the deal was going down. But I had driven what I thought was for the best. I knew I want to be in this business for not just as a driver. I want to be around as a car owner and enjoy the sport. So I want to have a team of my own. I want to stay in the sport. Racing has given me everything I have. It's all I want to do. It's not all I can do, but it's all I want to do. My career has been able to capture the very best part of this sport, from the greats to what will be the future greats. And I've been able to be right in there with them all the way along. I've been able to beat Richard Petty racing on the track. and now I'm going to be in Bobby, and now I'm racing Davey and Kyle, and being able to beat them and compete against them. So what I want to be remembered for, first I want to be remembered for being honest, sincere, and competitive.